Kody was asked a simple question, one that should have had a simple answer, and yet his response felt like a man stepping around a landmine he didn't want to admit he'd already triggered. Did it ever feel like a line was crossed? He hesitated, searching for words that sounded neutral, distant, detached. He said he didn't know what was going on. He said he was lost. He said communication with Meri was already broken. But what he didn't say mattered far more than what he did. Because for nearly 10 years, Sister Wives fans have been trying to understand how one emotional scandal didn't just embarrass Meri Brown, but effectively erased her from the family she helped build. And now, finally, Meri has confirmed something that changes everything. Not only did Robyn know about the catfishing while it was happening, but according to Meri, information she shared in confidence somehow made its way directly into the hands of the person who was manipulating her, and the husband who would later punish her for it. For years, the catfishing story was framed as a cautionary tale about loneliness and poor judgment. A married woman seeking emotional validation online. Foolish mistake. A betrayal of trust. That narrative stuck not because it was the full truth, but because it was convenient. It gave everyone else a clean way out. Meri became the villain, Kody became the wounded husband, and Robyn stood quietly on the sidelines as the loyal wife who had done everything right. Except that story was never complete. And now, as pieces that were once dismissed as coincidence begin to line up, what looked like a random online scam is starting to resemble something far more calculated. To understand why this feels so disturbing, you have to go back to who Meri was before 2015. She wasn't just another wife. She was the first wife. The legal wife. The woman who stood next to Kody when there was nothing but faith, promises, and a vision of plural marriage that hadn't yet been tested by fame or money or power. For decades, Meri's status mattered. Even when relationships were strained, even when affection faded, her position at the top of the hierarchy gave her a kind of quiet authority that couldn't be ignored. And that's exactly why what happened next would change the entire family forever. In September of 2014, Meri legally divorced Kody, not because their marriage was ending, but because she was told it was necessary. Robyn needed to become the legal wife so Kody could adopt her children. Meri agreed, believing that the legal paperwork wouldn't erase the spiritual bond or her place in the family. She believed she was making a sacrifice for the greater good. What she didn't realize was that she was stepping into the most vulnerable position of her entire life. Just 3 months later, in December 2014, Kody legally married Robyn. And then, almost immediately after that shift in power, something else happened. In March of 2015, Meri connected with someone on Twitter who called himself Sam Cooper. He presented himself as everything her life was not. Successful, attentive, emotionally available. He listened. He praised her. He made her feel seen in a way she hadn't felt in years. And that alone should have raised alarms. But loneliness has a way of dulling instincts, especially when the person offering attention seems to know exactly what to say. Sam never showed his full face. Only partial photos. Carefully angled images. Promises instead of presence. Red flags that would have been obvious to anyone watching from the outside. But Meri wasn't watching from the outside. She was inside a marriage that had emotionally frozen over long before. She was a woman who had just given up her legal identity as a wife and been told it didn't change anything, even though everything felt different. Sam became a place to put feelings she wasn't allowed to express anywhere else. Over the next 6 months, the relationship escalated fast. Messages turned into phone calls. Phone calls turned into voicemails. Hundreds of them. Nearly 200 recordings where Meri's voice sounds lighter, softer, hopeful. A version of her viewers never saw on television. She talked about her pain. About Kody. About feeling unloved. About wanting a future where she mattered again. She sent photos she never imagined would become public. Intimate images. Playful images. Vulnerable images. Every one of them would later be weaponized against her. But here's the part that was always glossed over. Meri didn't just interact with Sam online. She met someone in person. A woman named Lindsay, who claimed to be Sam's assistant. Lindsay met Meri multiple times, traveled with her, went to Disneyland with her, promised again and again that Sam would show up. He never did. And according to Meri, during one of these meetings, Lindsay didn't just lie. She threatened her. She told her she could ruin her life, destroy her family, and everything if Meri tried to walk away. This wasn't casual catfishing anymore. This was coercion. This was fear. By August of 2015, the illusion collapsed. Sam Cooper didn't exist. Lindsay didn't exist. They were both characters created by Jackie Overton, a known online scammer with a history of manipulating vulnerable people through elaborate fake identities. Meri wasn't just embarrassed. She was devastated, publicly humiliated. Her private pain was suddenly entertainment. And from that moment on, the way the family treated her changed permanently. But the question that refuses to go away is this: how did Jackie Overton know so much? How did she know exactly when Meri would be at her weakest? How did she know intimate details about family dynamics that weren't public knowledge? How did she know what to say, when to say it, and how to keep Meri emotionally trapped for 6 months straight? That's where the timeline starts to feel unsettling. Meri gives up her legal marriage in September 2014. Robyn becomes the legal wife in December. And in March 2015, right on cue, the catfishing begins. The scandal that would permanently strip Meri of credibility, sympathy, and status arrives at the exact moment it would cause the most damage. And it gives Kody something he didn't have before: a moral justification. After the catfishing, Meri wasn't just distant. She was guilty. Everything she said could be dismissed. Every complaint could be shut down. Every expression of pain could be met with one sentence that ended all conversation: "You cheated." From that point forward, Kody no longer had to try. He no longer had to fix anything. He could emotionally abandon her while presenting himself as the wronged husband. And Robyn, now the legal wife, never had to compete with Meri again. Fans noticed this pattern years ago. But what they didn't have was confirmation. Till now. Because Meri has finally admitted that during the catfishing, she confided in Robyn. She trusted her. She shared private conversations, intimate details, confusion, fear, hope. And somehow that information didn't stay private. It reached Jackie Overton. And it reached Kody. Which means the person Meri thought was protecting her may have been quietly supplying the very information used to manipulate and condemn her. And once you accept that possibility, everything else starts to look different. Because Robyn didn't just have access. She had a friend, close friend, a woman named Kendra. And Kendra is the next piece of this puzzle. But before we get there, you need to understand one thing very clearly. Nothing about what happened to Meri was quick. Once you allow yourself to consider that Meri's private words were not safe, that the things she whispered in confidence may have been passed along without her knowledge, the story stops being about embarrassment and starts being about strategy. Because information is power. And in this family, power has always mattered more than love. Meri wasn't just emotionally exposed during the catfishing. She was informationally exposed. Every fear she admitted. Every doubt she confessed. Every complaint she voiced about Kody. All of it became leverage. And if Robyn truly knew what was being said while it was happening, then she wasn't just a bystander watching a tragedy unfold. She was standing at the control panel. This is where Meri's recent admissions changed the entire narrative. For years, fans suspected something was off, but suspicion without confirmation can always be dismissed as paranoia. Now Meri has said it herself. She trusted Robyn. He talked to her. And the things she shared somehow reached both the catfish and her husband. That single detail reframes everything that came after. Because once Robyn knew what Meri was feeling, she knew exactly how deep the emotional connection had gone. She knew how compromised Meri already was. And she knew how devastating it would be when the truth came out. Think about how dangerous that position is. Robyn would have known what Meri was saying to Sam, what she was hoping for, and how far she was willing to go emotionally. That information could be used two ways at once. Fed to the catfish, it could make the manipulation more precise, more believable, more addictive. Fed to Kody, it could be framed in the worst possible light, stripped of context, stripped of vulnerability, and presented as proof of betrayal rather than evidence of emotional neglect. And this is where another name enters the story, a name that has hovered around this scandal for years without ever fully being addressed. Kendra Pera, Robyn's close friend, her business partner, someone publicly acknowledged by Robyn herself, someone trusted enough to be involved in the family's online boutique, someone who appeared on the show, someone who had access. According to multiple accounts, Meri's hesitation about Sam didn't disappear on its own. It was removed. Kendra allegedly vouched for Sam's authenticity. She claimed she had video chatted with him. She claimed he was real. She claimed he was exactly who he said he was. And coming from anyone else, that might not have mattered. But coming from Robyn's close friend, it carried weight, carried legitimacy. It told Meri that this wasn't just a stranger on the internet. This was someone vetted by people inside her own circle. That endorsement was everything. It lowered Meri's defenses at the exact moment she still had a chance to walk away. It told her she was safe when she wasn't. And it tied the catfish directly to Robyn's inner world in a way that can't be ignored. Because if Kendra was lying, the question becomes why. And if she wasn't lying, the question becomes how. Either answer is unsettling. Kendra didn't just disappear after vouching for Sam. She remained involved. She allegedly gathered information from Meri, asked questions, encouraged conversations, and stayed close to the situation. Fans have described this as an information pipeline. Meri speaks, Kendra listens, Robyn receives. And from there, the information can flow wherever it needs to go. To Jackie, to Kody, or both. What makes this even harder to dismiss is what happened after the scandal exploded. Once Meri learned that Sam and Lindsay were fake, once the voicemails and photos became public, once the humiliation was complete, the Brown family cut ties with Kendra entirely. Completely. No explanations. No gradual distancing. Just gone. And that alone raises eyebrows. Because Kendra had been one of the family's loudest defenders online, especially when it came to Robyn. Yet suddenly she was erased. And then came the part that made everything look even worse. Kendra aligned herself with Jackie Overton, the catfish, the woman who destroyed Meri's reputation. Together, they insisted that Sam Cooper was real, that Meri had genuinely been in love with a man who existed, that the scandal wasn't what people thought it was. Ask yourself why anyone would do that. Why would Robyn's close friend side with the person who humiliated the family unless there was already a connection there? This is where coincidence starts to collapse under its own weight. Because if Kendra was innocent, her behavior makes no sense. And if she wasn't, then her role becomes the missing link between Robyn and Jackie. The bridge that connects insider trust to outside manipulation. Now, layer this on top of what Meri's life looked like before the scandal. Her marriage to Kody was strained, yes. Cold, yes. But not openly hostile. There was still a possibility, however slim, that things could be repaired. Kody was indifferent, not cruel. Disconnected, not disgusted. And then the catfishing happened. And everything changed. After the scandal, Kody didn't just pull away. He recoiled. His language hardened. His tone sharpened. He rewrote history. He told Meri he never loved her. That he was never attracted to her. That their entire marriage had been a mistake. And he said these things with a certainty that felt rehearsed, as if he had been building toward that narrative long before the scandal gave him permission to unleash it. The catfishing became a permanent weapon, shield, a justification. Every attempt Meri made to reconnect was met with the same unmovable wall. You did this. You broke trust. You don't get to ask for more. And year after year she stayed. She apologized. She went to therapy. She tried to prove she was still worthy of love. All while living under a sentence she could never outlive. And through all of this, Robyn's position only strengthened. She became the unquestioned favorite. The legal wife. the emotional center of Kody's world. While Meri was pushed further and further to the margins, Robyn became untouchable. No one could accuse her of favoritism. No one could challenge her closeness with Kody. Because Meri had already lost the moral high ground. This is why fans keep coming back to the same question. Who benefited? Because when you strip away the emotion and look only at outcomes, the answer is disturbingly clear. Robyn gained security, control, exclusivity. Meri lost everything that once gave her power. And Kody gained an excuse to abandon a marriage he had already emotionally checked out of. But the most chilling part of all of this is that Meri didn't speak up for years. She carried the shame. She let herself be portrayed as the villain. She absorbed the public judgment and the private punishment. And she did it because she still believed in the family. She still believed in protecting something that was already quietly being dismantled around her. Till now. 'Cause now Meri is free. Free from Kody. Free from the hierarchy. Free from the pressure to keep quiet for the sake of unity. And once she started talking, once she confirmed that Robyn betrayed her trust, the final barrier fell. What once sounded like conspiracy now sounds like corroboration. Not proof in the legal sense, but confirmation in the emotional one. The kind that makes people stop and reassess everything they thought they knew. And the deeper you go, the harder it becomes to believe this was random. Jackie Overton didn't just find Meri by accident. She didn't just guess her vulnerabilities. The timing is the detail that refuses to stay quiet, no matter how hard it's been buried. You can ignore behavior. You can explain away motives. You can dismiss feelings as subjective. But timing doesn't lie. And when you map out exactly when each of these events happened, the story stops looking messy and starts looking precise. Almost surgical. Because everything that happened to Meri unfolded at the exact moment it needed to in order to do the maximum amount of damage. September 2014 is where the dominoes start to fall. Meri signs the divorce papers. Not because she wants to leave, but because she's told it's necessary for the family. She gives up the one thing that still anchored her to Kody in a tangible way. The legal title. The recognition. The protection. She tells herself it doesn't change anything, but deep down she knows it does. Power always shifts when paperwork changes. And in December 2014, that shift becomes permanent when Kody legally marries Robyn. From that moment on, Robyn isn't just another wife. She's the wife. The one with legal standing. The one with security. The one who can't be displaced without consequences. And Meri is suddenly floating. Spiritually married but legally erased, emotionally neglected and now structurally weakened. That's the emotional condition Jackie Overton somehow knew how to exploit perfectly just 3 months later. March 2015 is when Sam Cooper appears. Not before the divorce. Not during it. Not years later. Right after. Right when Meri is most isolated. Right when her identity inside the family has been destabilized. Right when her value feels uncertain. That's not just unfortunate timing. That's ideal timing. The kind that makes experienced manipulators very effective and leaves their victims defenseless. And the impact of the scandal wasn't temporary. Didn't fade with time. It became the defining lens through which Meri was viewed for the next 8 years. Everything she did after that was filtered through one assumption. She was the one who betrayed the family. And that assumption stripped her of credibility, authority, and sympathy in one blow. This is why Kody's behavior after the scandal is so telling. He didn't just withdraw affection. He rewrote history. He reframed decades of marriage as a mistake. He spoke with contempt, not grief. And that contempt felt practiced, as if he had been given the emotional permission he needed to finally say out loud what he had been holding back for years. The catfishing didn't break the marriage. Justified breaking it. And where was Robyn during all of this? She was positioned as the calm, loyal, morally upright wife. The one who never strayed. The one who could be trusted. The one who Kody could lean on emotionally while cutting Meri off. And if Meri's private conversations really were leaked, then Robyn didn't just benefit from the fallout. She helped shape it. Because framing matters. Meri talking to someone online can be framed as loneliness. Or it can be framed as infidelity. Meri expressing emotional pain can be framed as vulnerability. Or it can be framed as betrayal. And whoever controls the narrative controls the outcome. If Robyn shared Meri's words with Kody without context, without compassion, without acknowledging the manipulation involved, then she wasn't just relaying information. She was constructing a case. This also explains why Meri never recovered her footing. No matter how much time passed, no matter how much she apologized, no matter how much she tried to prove herself, the decision had already been made. Kody wasn't waiting for healing. He was waiting for justification. And once he had it, there was no incentive to let it go. What makes this even more disturbing is that Kody himself admitted long before the catfishing that he intended to punish Meri for decades. Years earlier, he told her she had been terrible to him for 20 years and that she would have to wait at least that long for him to fix their relationship. That statement alone suggests the marriage was already emotionally over in his mind. The catfishing didn't cause his cruelty, it licensed it. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If Kody had already emotionally abandoned Meri, and Robyn knew that, then leaking Meri's private conversations would have guaranteed one outcome: total rejection. No mercy, no understanding, no second chance. Meri would be permanently frozen out. And Robyn's position would become unchallenged. Then there's Jackie Overton's knowledge. The catfish didn't speak like a stranger. She spoke like someone who understood the family dynamic intimately. She knew where Meri felt insecure. She knew exactly how to validate her pain. She knew how to criticize Kody in ways that would resonate deeply. That kind of psychological accuracy doesn't come from watching a TV show. Comes from inside access. And this is where the pipeline theory stops sounding far-fetched. Meri talks to Robyn. Robyn talks to Kendra. Kendra vouches for Sam. Jackie uses insider details to manipulate Meri more effectively. Information flows outward while trust flows inward. Meri is the only person in that equation who doesn't know what's really happening. When the scandal breaks, Meri takes the fall alone. Jackie disappears into infamy. Kendra is quietly cut off. Robyn remains untouched. And Kody gains the moral high ground. It's the kind of outcome you would expect if multiple interests aligned behind the scenes, not if chaos was unfolding randomly. This is why Meri's silence for so many years matters. Silence isn't always consent. Sometimes it's survival. She stayed because leaving meant losing everything she had left. She stayed because she hoped time would soften Kody's heart. She stayed because admitting betrayal from inside the family would have shattered the last illusion she was holding on to. And she stayed because she believed the truth would destroy more than it healed. Until she didn't need to protect anyone anymore. Once Christine left. Once Janelle left. Once the family structure collapsed. Once Meri realized there was nothing left to salvage. That's when the truth finally had room to breathe. And that's why her recent revelations feel so heavy. Because they aren't impulsive. They aren't emotional outbursts. They're measured, delayed, and devastating. Meri knows exactly what her words imply. She knows what fans will connect. She knows how long these theories have circulated. And by confirming that Robyn leaked private conversations, she effectively validated the core of what people have suspected all along. That the catfishing wasn't just an outside attack. It was an inside failure. Or worse, an inside betrayal. And if that's true, then the most tragic part of this story isn't the humiliation. It's the years that followed. 8 years of punishment. 8 years of isolation. 8 years of trying to earn forgiveness for something that may have been engineered to ensure forgiveness would never come. And in the final part, we're going to confront the most unsettling question of all. If this was an inside job, if Meri was targeted at her weakest point, if Robyn benefited in every measurable way, then what does that say about the collapse of the entire Brown family? And why is Meri choosing now, after all this time, to finally let the truth surface? Because the ending of this story doesn't just explain the past. It explains why everything fell apart the way it did. By the time Meri finally spoke out, the damage had already shaped the next decade of the Brown family's story. Kody, isolated and embittered, had become a man almost unrecognizable to the world that watched him. His 18 children, once connected through the ties of a large plural family, had slowly drifted away, some refusing contact entirely. Meanwhile, Robyn remained legally secure and technically the victor of a long, silent war. But even that victory was hollow, because the foundations of her position, the manipulation, the betrayals, the catfishing scandal, had fractured the very family she had climbed to the top of. A victory built on deceit can never be satisfying, and the cracks were impossible to ignore. Meri, on the other hand, finally reclaimed agency. She opened up, telling the truth not only about her own suffering but about the people she had trusted most. Her revelations about Robyn's alleged betrayal, the private conversations leaked to both the Catfish and Kody, confirmed suspicions fans had harbored for nearly a decade. The timing, the inside connections, the precision with which the catfishing had unfolded all painted a picture that was impossible to ignore. It wasn't just coincidence. It wasn't just manipulation by an internet predator. It was something much darker. A calculated attack, executed with surgical precision, designed to destroy her credibility, isolate her from her allies, and elevate Robyn without opposition. Every piece of the puzzle, Jackie Overton, Kendra Pard, Robyn herself, Kody's emotional withdrawal, fit together too perfectly to be accidental. And the psychological toll of that knowledge cannot be overstated. Meri didn't just lose status or influence. She lost her emotional footing, her trust in family, her